Johnny, and on this channel we normally just talk to people who have traveled from overseas and they're staying in Australia. So today we have somebody who's going to introduce herself and is just going to tell us where he came from and why he came to Australia. Welcome to my channel.
Thank you, Uncle John. My name is Penny. I'm from Uganda. I come from a city called Mbarara, but I grew up in Kampala, and I was working in Kampala prior to coming to Australia. Yeah.
What brought you to Australia?
School?
School?
Yes.
Were there not school in Uganda?
There were schools in Uganda, and there still are schools in Uganda, but there are no schools that offer a PhD in my profession. Yeah. So I had to look outside.
Okay, so you came to study a specialized kind of education.
Yeah. For social work. We have bachelor's degree in social work. Yep. In Uganda, we have masters. It's just upcoming in a few institutions, and we definitely do not have PhDs offered in social work back in Uganda. Yeah.
So why Australia? Because there's New Zealand, there's America, there's UK. Why specifically did you choose Australia?
Well, in all honesty, Australia has always been a dream destination. It has always been a dream destination. I didn't know much about Australia, but the little that I knew intrigued me. I saw it as a very beautiful country. First of all, I like the fact that it's one of those countries that where you don't have to experience severe winter. Winter seasons, and it's also an English-speaking country. Yeah. So coming from a country with a kind of tropical climate like I do, I thought that would be good for me. And I came to Australia. The first time I came to Australia was in 2014, actually, for a conference in Melbourne, and. So when I came, it was winter.
It was cold.
but having experienced severe winters in other countries and seeing the Australian winter, experiencing it firsthand, I think that sealed the deal for me. And so even though at that time I was here briefly, I was like, I would definitely be back because I think I like this place. So when I went back home, I started looking for PhD scholarship opportunities in Australia, and the rest is history.
You came to Australia first before coming the second time?
Yes.
What type of conference was this?
It was an international social work conference in 2014, July 2014. So it was in Melbourne, and I was sponsored by the International Federation of Social Workers, together with the conference organizers, who are the Australian Association of Social Workers, University of Melbourne, and so many other academic institutions in Melbourne. So my colleague and I were given scholarships because we applied. Those conferences usually have scholarships for people from low developed countries.
Like Uganda.
I don't know what they mean by low developed countries because my definition of development is different. So we explored that opportunity, and we were blessed enough to get it and come here.
Well, you went back and came back the second time.
Yes, I came back the second time.
So I want to know your first day in Australia the second time. What happened? How did you find your way through?
It's the second coming.
The second coming.
It was very easy. It was very easy because I knew people here. So by the time I left Uganda, I had already made arrangements on where I would come, who was going to pick me up from the airport, where I was going to stay. And I was fortunate enough, like many Ugandans that have gone through University of Newcastle, to have known Sarah, Dr. Sarah Bulamo, and her husband Julius Bulamo. They were more, they're the ones that pretty much welcomed so many Ugandan students here. So since they were already established here, and I knew Sarah before, I got into contact with her,
Yeah.
and she said, "Oh, we're happy to host you and your son." And so the husband picked us up from Sydney International Airport very early in the morning, and they drove us straight to Newcastle.
To Newcastle.
Yeah.
Did you find any food from Uganda here?
Yeah, there's matoke once in a while.
Yeah.
There's lots of food actually. When it comes to food, I don't miss Uganda much.
Yeah.
I can pretty much get most of the things, Ugandan foods here. The only difference is the taste. The taste varies. I mean, ours is still superior.
Yeah.
But
Ugandan food is superior.
Yeah, we can settle for the alternative. Yeah. So in terms of food, yeah, everything was okay.
What about the language?
The language was okay. I
Although,
speak English, they speak English.
Uganda, they speak English. We do. Most of us do understand that English, but the Aussie English is a bit, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about.
Speaking so fast. I had an issue with understanding some people because they spoke too fast and they were, in my opinion, mumbling the words, like they were not, so I couldn't hear. So I would have to say pardon, pardon, pardon several times. And then they were using lots of Aussie slang. Now I'm getting in line. Aussie slang. So I would have to ask what does that mean? And then the swearing. Oh, the swearing shocked me. I had never ever been to a nation where people swear like they do in Australia. I can't speak for the US because their movies show that they swear a lot by everything, but I've not been to the US, so I can't say, oh, Americans swear a lot. I'll speak for the people that I have
where you've been.
Yeah.
Does that offend you? The swearing?
Initially, it did. It did because I was working in an industry with children that are living out of home, different age groups, and because of many of them have behavioral issues, but they are mainly pain-based behaviors due to the trauma they experienced and so many other underlying issues in their lives. So their language of communication, their expression of whether they're frustrated or happy, they would swear. Now, where I come from, the F word, the S word, the B word, honestly, I had words in this country that I never knew existed.
But
it took me a while to figure out what they were actually talking about. I'm like, oh my, and you're getting this from like an 11-year-old girl. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So it offended me for the long time possible. But of course in my kind of work, you're taught not to take things personal. I learned that that's their language and I have to live with it. But I just purposed to try not to speak like they do. Because at the end of the day...
Are you sure? Are you sure you don't swear?
And rarely.
So you do, but rarely.
Rarely.
So do you swear when you are frustrated or when you're happy, like you've said?
No, when I'm
the
happy,
Aussie people just do it anytime.
No. I rarely swear. Rarely. I won't lie to you that I don't swear, but when I swear, it has come from far. And I try not to do it because it's so easy for it to become a habit, honestly. So innocent words. Like for example, when I'm shocked by something, people will always use the F word or the S word, mostly the F word. So for me, I would either go like, oh my goodness, oh my word, things like that.
But sometimes they use the F word if something is good.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying.
Go,
whether
oh
they're
my God,
happy or something.
this thing is F good.
Like for me, the swearing would come in when something has not gone my way. Like, oh, I've blundered or I've made an accident. So, like I said, I would usually use expressions like, oh my goodness, oh my word, oh heaven, stuff like that. But I found myself saying the S word, the SH word, not the ST word, And I realized because I'm trying to model behavior for my son, I'm trying to model behavior, and I preach to him or I talk to him about swearing and not swearing and how it's not appropriate, how it's un-African, because at the end of the day I'm African and nothing's going to take that away from me. So I can't be telling my son not to swear
And you
yet
swear.
I'm swearing,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
So I try so hard not to adopt,
Yeah, but
pick
you
up that culture.
can just swear where your son is not there.
That's what I'm saying. It's so easy to get sucked into it. The next time you will forget. I have forgotten and done it when my son is there.
Oh, okay.
And I have had to apologize.
So you've mentioned that you came with your son.
Yes.
Was son in school when you came here?
Yes, he was in school.
Did you have to remove him from school?
Yes,
Okay.
but he was only in top class.
Yeah,
I don't know
okay.
if in Kenya you have top class, because in Uganda it's nursery. It's our
Yeah.
nursery, or an
Okay.
equivalent of kindergarten.
Yeah.
So kids, unfortunately, in Uganda start studying when they're pretty young,
Yeah.
3 years. A child has already entered the school education
Yeah.
system. So they start with baby class, middle class, and then top class.
Yeah.
So my son was in top class, and I withdrew him from top class. And I think it was perfect timing, because when he came here, he had just made 5. He had just turned 5.
Yeah.
And top class is the equivalent of kindy here.
Yeah.
So he just fell in line.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So he adapted very easily
He
here?
adapted very easily, I believe so.
How was your adaptation to Australian culture?
It was so easy. I think for me, what makes it easy is the fact that I understood the language that they speak, English, and secondly, I had people who knew the system. So they made things easy for me. They helped me to navigate the system. Yeah. Which was very different from my experience when I went for my master's in Sweden. So. Yeah, for me it was pretty easy here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been to another country as well?
Yeah.
You've been to Sweden?
Yeah.
Okay. How was that? And why did you go to Sweden?
I went to Sweden still to pursue an education, a master's in social work.
Okay.
We didn't have a master's in social work in Uganda by then.
So there's nothing in Uganda?
There's a lot in Uganda. There is a lot in Uganda.
You've just told me you went to do masters here
right now
because there was nothing in Uganda. You went to Sweden to do something else because it was not in Uganda.
Yeah.
What do you have in Uganda?
We have a lot.
Yeah.
There are PhDs in medicine, there are PhDs in engineering, it depends on the profession and the rate at which it grows.
Except what Penny is willing to do is not in Uganda.
What I was pursuing was not in Uganda. But they now have a master's in I think 1 or 2 institutions. And Makerere University, which is the biggest and the oldest public institution, is now in the process of starting the master's in social work. But by the time I finished my bachelor's, there was no master's in social work anywhere
so
you
finished your bachelor's in Uganda?
Yes.
And then after that, soon you went to Sweden to do your...
after a year. So I just went to the internet and looked for opportunities.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and so I subscribed to a website called Advance Africa that would, and it still does, publish scholarship opportunities from across the world.
Oh, okay.
So I saw this master's in social work and human rights in Sweden, and I'm like, this is perfect. This is what I'm looking for. And I applied, and by the grace of God, I got it. I was out of there.
And you went?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So who was, it was scholarship, who was paying for your other stuff?
It was a foundation called Linus Palm. Forgive me, I've forgotten my little Swedish that I learned. I think it's called Linus Palm or something like that, in conjunction with the Swedish government. So, but I think it was more of Linus Palm, because by the time I was in Sweden, university education was free for everyone, regardless of where you came from.
Okay, in Sweden? In
Sweden.
Okay.
If you were coming as a private student, you only had to prove that you had the funds to take care of yourself.
Okay, like pay
living
accommodation.
expenses.
Okay,
yeah, because their visa system is quite different from the Australian one. I was there for a 2-year study course, but they would initially give you a 9-month study visa. And then you have to apply for another visa for your 2nd year. That has implications, because if you have a visa that is less than 1 year in Sweden, you cannot be given a person number. They call it a person number, which is an equivalent of a tax file number. And if you don't have that, you cannot work. You get it? So meaning you have to prove that you can take care of yourself. So what Linus Palm did was to take care of me, my living expenses. And then the education was on the government.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you studied for free?
I studied for free.
Yeah.
I've been blessed, I've been fortunate enough.
And you're still studying here for free?
I'm still not for free. I pay taxes.
Are you paying the community back for paying all these things for you?
Absolutely. I am a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen. I pay back.
Comparing the lifestyle of Sweden to Australia, which one do you like most?
Oh, I'll take Australia any day.
What was wrong with Sweden?
Without Sweden, don't get me. There's nothing wrong with Sweden. Sweden is a very beautiful country. Very beautiful. In terms of beauty, it's really beautiful.
Just like
not in the winter.
Oh, it's very cold in the winter.
It's very, very cold. And to be honest, it's the winter that chased me out of Sweden.
Okay.
Because I said, I experienced two winters in Sweden, and I said, if I stay here for a third winter, I'm going to commit suicide. That it is really cold. You know this cold that seeps through your toes and your fingers, and you feel like they are burning? But for me, the other thing was the language barrier. So Sweden they speak Swedish. That is their official language. That's where you'll find at the bus stations, that's where you'll find everywhere. Sometimes they're kind enough to translate in English. The Swedish people know how to speak English. Many of them do, but they don't want to speak it. They're not confident, and they will always apologize. The first thing when you meet a Swedish, and just it's a few of them that would approach us, meaning they are very closed people. They keep to themselves. They are not as friendly,
wild as Australia.
As the Aussies are. That Swedish really keep to themselves, and they first have to become comfortable with you before they approach you, and that takes a while. So they will apologize for their English. I'm sorry, I don't speak good English. And then when they speak English, you see that they actually speak good English. But I think because they are very comfortable with their language, and they don't feel comfortable enough to speak another language. So I find that those issues make me choose Australia any day. The weather, the language, and the
friendliness of Australia. But now, what about the learning or the education? Was it in Swedish?
It was in English. It was in English, yeah. So it was, there were programs that were also offered in Swedish, but that particular one is an international master's. So if it's international, then it has to be an international language, which is not Swedish, because Swedish is spoken by like what, 9 million people?
So you didn't get anybody to teach you Swedish?
There were opportunities. We were asked to, the government had opportunities for teaching us Swedish, so they told us to go, and then they gave us a test, and if you didn't pass the test, you are thrown out. So I was thrown out.
Oh, so I mean, you didn't get somebody to teach you
people,
like privately, like.
I didn't have that time. I didn't have that time, and I don't think I had the interest, because my plans were not to stay in Sweden after studying. For the time I was there, I mean, when you're there, you observe, and you're like, I had enough time to decide whether that was a place for me or not. And I was like, I don't think this is a place for me. But I do love Sweden. I miss Sweden. I would love an opportunity to go back and visit.
So if somebody from here is going to Uganda, where can they go, and what can they go and see there?
I would advise people to go to the rural areas. Go out of town. Get out of Kampala.
What's interesting in the rural area?
I think life is more chill. And it's beautiful in the countryside. There are lots of things to see. There are national parks. There is, you can go the wildlife. You can do safaris. You can do gorilla tracking. You can just go and see the real Uganda. I call it the real Uganda, out of Kampala.
Out of Kampala. And now, if you would like to advise the students who would want to come out of Uganda to go maybe Sweden or Australia, what would you tell them the first thing to do before they come out of Uganda?
I think they have to know what they want. Because like I said, for me, I liked coming to Australia. There may people who may not want to come to Australia for other reasons. So know where you want to go and for what purpose, and look out for the opportunities that that country offers you beyond an education. Australia gives me an opportunity to study, but Australia will also give me an opportunity to work and contribute to society. Even after I am done with studies, they will give me an opportunity to apply for another visa that allows me to work and gain work experience. But Sweden does not offer you that.
Okay.
I don't know if they do now, but by the time I finished my studying there in 2010, no, there was no opportunity.
So
Yeah.
people in Uganda come to Australia, don't go to Sweden.
Honestly, if you told me to choose one, I would go with Australia any day, in all honesty. Yeah, but if you just want to go and see beauty and chill life and, you know, experience the Swedish culture, yeah, go to Sweden.
Yeah, okay. Where is this gorilla tracking in Uganda?
It's
Which
in southwestern Uganda. It's called Bwindi Impenetrable Forest. And there's a park there, and I think it borders with Congo. So it's in the southwestern, the Kasese. It borders with Congo, around the Rwenzori mountain regions. That's where the gorillas are.
Is it affordable?
I think it's affordable. You have to apply for a gorilla tracking permit, and there's information online with a different. I even know I have a friend who runs such a company. They can help you with that process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you gone to this gorilla place to see them?
No, I grew up with gorillas. Why would I go to see them? Why would I go
you're telling people to go there, obviously. You have
because those are the things that fascinate me. It's just like how I get fascinated with kangaroos, because I don't have kangaroos in Uganda. So I think there are many Aussies who wouldn't be moved by going to see a kangaroo, you know, at the park. So I'm not moved to go and see a gorilla, because we always take things we have in our backyard for granted. You know that.
Penny,
So I don't see myself honestly going to track gorillas. You know,
it sounds like Penny, your journey has been very good. You've not had so many barriers, except in Sweden, which you couldn't speak
the language.
And you had a few of hiccup here with all this slang. But apart from that, everything sounds to be good.
Yeah, Australia is good. Of course, there are all those moments you see in the media. The racism that comes out in different aspects, but you learn how to interpret and navigate it.
Have you encountered any
racism?
Yep.
Yes, in my work with the children. Yeah.
So the kids are racist towards you? Yeah,
some of them, not all of them. It's just a few of them. I would say that it's been maybe like 5% of the 90 out of 100 that I've worked with. Yeah. But like I say,
is it because they are sick, or because they're just difficult children to work with?
No, I wouldn't say they are sick, but working in this industry, I think I interpret it from a perspective of pain-based behavior. These children go through a lot of trauma, and I'm not excusing them, but you have to understand them. So their communication is different. When they want to hurt you, because when I go in as a worker, there is a power imbalance. I have power, and when you want to hurt a person in power, you will look for something that you think will hurt them. You know?
So they
exactly. So that is how I interpret it. But that has been resolved in a way that it's easy for me. The companies I have worked with have been very understanding. I don't have to stand racism. I will, if such a thing occurs, I will speak to the child and say, I can imagine the F words. I can tolerate the F words and so many other things. But when it comes to the issue of color, I can't stand that. So if they're not willing to change, I will just move to another. I will call after our support and say, send someone else, because I can't be working with someone who treats me like I'm a second class citizen because of my color of skin. But apart from that, I haven't had direct encounters from the general public. I've seen things on social media. You see them. Everyone in Australia see them. But I said, I always tell people, I think I get tired of talking about this racism thing, not because it's been the buzzword for most of 2020 and the years, but it's just that I speak from my experience as a black person. I think I have reached a racial fatigue, if I'm to call that, because you can't help willful ignorance. There's some people out there that don't want to be educated, you know, about simple things, you know, about making them understand that people don't choose their skin colors, and even if they chose, there's nothing wrong with someone having a different skin color from you. It's just a skin color. You know?
Just leaving that hot topic alone. Are you going to vote in Museveni, your grandfather, again in Uganda?
I'm not going to vote because Uganda does not allow citizens out of the country to vote. But given an opportunity, if I was in Uganda, I wouldn't vote for him.
Why?
Because I think it's time for change. I would vote someone different, not Bobby Wine. We can do better than that. There are other candidates. There is a candidate that speaks to me about the things I would desire to see for my country. Unfortunately, they don't get as much airtime. They are not as popular as Museveni and Bobby Wine, but they speak sense. You know, they speak sense to me. That is the person I would vote for.
So, in your honest opinion, do you think Museveni will go back to be the president of Uganda?
Oh, he absolutely will. There's nothing that is going to stop him. This is Africa. This is not America, where we go to court, we go to Congress, we go to Senate, we go to, you know. In Uganda, whoever counts the vote is whoever is in power.
So,
is the one that determines who is president.
When he's finally gone, his son, Museveni Jr., will come to power again.
I hope not. I hope not. Yeah.
Okay.
I really hope not. I don't know if that is what they're planning to do. There's been news, media coverage about him being a successor. But if you see his social media handles, you hear the things that he talks, the arrogance in which they talk down on us, the indifference to the people suffering in the country. I think we need to purge the country of Musevenism. Museveni has done well. He's done some very, very good things. I'm not saying he's an absolutely bad person, but I think it's come to a point. For me, it is the corruption and the arrogance and the impunity with which they steal public funds and. It's a dictatorship. I think we need to move on to leaders that will listen to the people.
I think they all do the same thing. But Penny, thank you very much for appearing on my show.
You're welcome, Uncle John.
So this has been very good. I've not interviewed anybody from Uganda, so and this is the first interview for this year because I went on break. And if you want to follow people's journey who have come from overseas and they're staying in Australia, subscribe to this channel. And you'll hear their story. They've not only gone to one country, like in case of Penny, she's been in Sweden, and now she's in Australia. So follow our journey here, and you will be, I think you'll be very interested in Penny's story. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Uncle John.
Thank you.